Nora Speaks is a weekly podcast that tugs at the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With show topics such as youth empowerment, education, women's impact, and civic engagement, Nora Speaks challenges the listener to not only join the movement, but be the movement. On the show, you'll learn from insightful guests who have demonstrated capacity in these fields and more, and I'm your host, Nora Muhammad. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of the Nora Speaks podcast, and I am your host, Nora Muhammad. It is always a pleasure and it is a privilege to be with you each and every week. I am so grateful for my listeners who continue to come back week after week. I hope that you are letting your friends and your family know about the conversations, about the guests, about the ideas and insights that are being shared on the Nora Speaks podcast. I must say that it is past time that we have these tough conversations, that we make these pointed statements. We cannot continue on like business as usual. We cannot continue on as if the conditions that our families are facing, our communities are facing, our children are facing is normal. We have to point out what needs to be pointed out. We have to talk about things. We have to confront ourselves. We have to confront the decisions that we are making that produce negative outcomes or unwanted outcomes. And we have to hold ourselves accountable. And so much of that is being discussed here on the Nora Speaks podcast. So please do share this podcast with your family, with your friends. Let others know. Share it on social media. And if you do share it, make sure you tag Nora Speaks so that I can give you a shout out and share my gratitude and appreciation of you. There are so many people who reach out to me directly, personally, and let me know that they support the podcast. They let me know that they appreciate the ideas that are being shared on the podcast. And I recognize that many of my listeners hold very prominent positions within government, within industries, and it may not be in their interest to give me public support. And that is okay. You know, what I recognize is that we each have to do our work where we are. And there are very valuable people who have the interest of our communities, who have the interest of our families and of our children. And I want them to stay in that position, to continue to carry on and represent our interests and continue to support privately. Let others know, share word of mouth. But because I don't see a like, because I don't see your review openly or in the public, I do appreciate the private support that you give me. Each of us is making our contributions in our particular places, and that is okay. And I will continue to urge you to represent our interests, to represent our needs, to stand up for us in those closed rooms when no one else is speaking to our interests, when no one else is distributing resources in a fair way. We want you to continue advocating where you are. While you're working where you are, we will be working where we are. So I thank you, and those who are listening, you know exactly who I'm speaking to. So what is this episode about? Well, this episode is about so much of what previous episodes have been about. We in our community, I'm talking about the Black community, we have to stop explaining ourselves. We explain ourselves as if we are looking to qualify for just treatment, like we're looking to qualify for fair treatment. And in particular, I'm talking about those incidents where we are racially profiled. There's so many incidents of those living while Black, whether it's barbecuing in a park, whether it's dozing off in a study room, as happened with our sister who was at, I believe it was Yale University. But so many incidents of us being accosted, being accused of things, committing crimes that we did not exist. And it's really unfair that we are targeted the way that we are. But what I want to encourage us is to stop explaining ourselves. And so I'm going to give you a couple examples of what I'm talking about with us not needing to explain ourselves. So you might remember there was a black man who was going to pick up his friend, and the friend lived in a building that had private security, or you had needed a key card or some kind of electronic identifier to enter the building. And as this black man was going to enter the building, there was a white man exiting with his son. And as the white man told the police officer, the black man was trying to tailgate his way in, meaning the white man was exiting while the door was open. The black man was going to go in, and the white man stopped him and stood in front of his building. And so the Caucasian, the white man, decided that he was going to call the police. This was a matter that he thought was worthy of calling the emergency police line. And as he is calling the police, the black man is recording on his cell phone. And the man's son is urging him, the white man, his son is urging him to stop what he's doing. Daddy, leave him alone. I don't like this. The little boy is crying. And the black man is saying, listen to your son, listen to your son. If you stop this, I will stop recording. But, the white man continued with his conversation with the police, with the dispatch, in describing what the black man was wearing, describing what he looked like. And as the Caucasian man was on the phone giving identifying distinctions or descriptions to the police, the black man said, I'm a software engineer. I'm a software engineer, brother. And I thought, now, what does your occupation have to do with that particular moment? I'm a software engineer. And so I'm going to share a second incident. Something happened recently in the Upper Darby school district where a teacher, a Caucasian woman, and a black man apparently had some kind of fender bender. And the Caucasian woman began berating the black man and using racially charged language at him. And he also recorded this incident. And the woman is saying to him, well, you're probably on welfare. She says, go back to your welfare, go back to your Section 8 house. And as she's saying this to him and saying that he's probably receiving welfare, he's saying not even a little bit, 6 figures a year, ma'am. And then when she told him to go back to his Section 8 house, he said, no, I have a 3,200 square foot home. That woman is not interested in your income. She's not interested in your occupation. She is not interested in the square footage of your home. And I've seen this repeatedly where black people who have the police called on them try to use some kind of justifier, some kind of identifier to suggest that they shouldn't be treated with such ignorance, that they shouldn't be accosted the way that they are. And I say we have to stop explaining ourselves. It does not matter if we are an ex-con. It doesn't matter if we are unemployed. It does not matter if we are a software engineer. It doesn't matter if we have a 3,200 square foot home or a 300 square foot home. None of that matters. The fact that you are alive and breathing and are a person, that entitles us to dignified treatment. It is not based on our income levels. It is not based on our occupation. It is not based on our affiliations, our memberships. It doesn't matter if we have a PsyD, a PhD, or an MD after our name. And if we feel that we have to insert status for others to respect us, then not only are they not going to respect us, but in that moment, we are not respecting ourselves. And it is so instinctive that we would insert our income, insert our membership, insert our occupation, insert our neighborhood. We want to let them know that no, I am worthy of dignified treatment. I am worthy of respect. But being worthy of dignified treatment and being worthy of respect just comes based on being a person. Being a person who is alive, who is entitled to all the rights and dignified treatment that you are entitled to. And so we explain ourselves, and then we would say, well, or I would say, if they're going to respect you based on the qualifier that they're giving you, if they're going to respect you based on the status that you're sharing with them, then they don't respect you at all. Because we don't need a qualifier. We don't need some kind of validation outside of our general personhood. And we reduce ourselves and we reduce our people by making such a suggestion. And as I said, I know it's instinctive, it's reflective, because we have been demeaned for so long. We want the world to know that we are worthy of respect, but it doesn't come because you work on Capitol Hill. It does not come because you worked in the Obama administration. It does not come because you're a medical student. It does not come because his father was a police officer. They are gunning us down. They are calling the police on us. They are criminalizing our general behavior. It does not matter if you're a doctor, if you're an attorney, if you didn't grow up in the city, if you grew up in the suburbs. It doesn't matter if he's never been in trouble before. None of that matters, because the bullseye on our back does not distinguish our income level. It does not distinguish the darkness or the lightness of our brown skin. It does not distinguish whether you served time in prison or you ran a touchdown on the football field. The bullseye and the target on our back is not distinguishing any of that. It is coming simply because you are a black man, a black woman, a black child. It is coming because the black man and black woman have continued to be denigrated, to be disrespected, to be demeaned. And when we suggest that we should insert a qualifier, then we too are validating their reasons why they would disrespect us. We cannot make a separation. I mean, if a person has come out of prison, should they receive less dignified treatment? Should they receive less respect? If I dropped out of high school, should I be respected any less? If I'm illiterate, should I be respected or treated any less of a person than who might be an attorney or a doctor or a plumber? Absolutely not. And so when we recognize a people who have decades after decades, centuries after centuries, have demeaned and disrespected and brutalized us, as innocent people, as people who have done no harm to anyone, as people who are living their lives and loving their families and pursuing their dreams, for them to have it in them to reflexively create a situation where they call the police on us because we are unworthy to exist in the space in which they live. If they're going to take a gun out and try to end our lives because we are not worthy to breathe the same air as us, it does not matter one bit what our income level is. It does not matter if my mother was the mayor, if my mother is a senator, if my father was the congressman. It does not matter in their minds. That is not the qualifier. The qualifier is you having breath in your body, you being a person like them. And if they do not see that, then that is not something that they should recognize as a problem. That is something that we should recognize as a problem. And based on that, we should take action based on their inability or their refusal to acknowledge our personhood. So it is not for us to continue to push our children through the ranks of education, or push our children into memberships and affiliations, or to push our children out of Black communities into communities where we are not largely represented. That is not what we need to do. Not that we don't need education, not that we don't need safe neighborhoods, not that we don't need affiliations, but that is not what we need so that we can be a dignified people. What we need to do, what we must do, is look to ourselves and dignify ourselves and find dignity in our Creator and be dignified by our Creator, but not to suggest that because I have letters after my name, because I have so many zeros or commas on my paycheck, then I should be deemed worthy of respectable treatment. No, that is a false qualifier. Do not set yourself up like that. Don't set your children up to think that your income, your zip code, or your tax bracket is going to cause anyone to love you, because The mere fact that they don't know what your income level is when they call the police on you. They don't ask you what your occupation is when they call the police on you, because that doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is that you're black and you're in their space and you're doing something that they don't like. How many videos have you seen of a young black man walking to his apartment building and somebody following him, not believing that he lives there, calling the police on someone in their own home? How many videos have you seen? How many more videos do we need to see? How many more lives do we need to lose for us to recognize that we have to create safety in our own selves and stop looking for others to dignify us, stop looking for others to validate us, legitimize us? We have to legitimize ourselves. So I say, stop trying to qualify yourself. You are already qualified because you have air that comes in and out of your lungs, because you have life in your body, because you have a mind that thinks, because you exist. God has already legitimized us. Now we have to take that legitimacy and do something with it so that we can be secure in our communities, in our cities, in our neighborhood, darn near in our homes. We have to do this ourselves. Stop looking for others to do it. Stop thinking that because we have some signal or some signification that they're going to respect, because they have shown us that they do not. But God has signified us with personhood, and that is enough for us. So we can put that down. We don't need to talk about our occupations. We don't have to talk about the square footage of our home. We don't have to talk about our tax bracket, our income level. We don't have to talk about our relationships with this prominent person and that prominent person. Brother and sister, you are already prominent because you exist. So I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this episode. We have to respect and love ourselves. No one is going to respect us until we respect and love ourselves. And that's why they can do this to us, because they see that we're not doing it for ourselves. Nothing is happening to them. There's no repercussions to them. So what are we going to do? Are we going to continue being victim, continue playing victim? Aren't we tired of it? There is something that we can do, and we can unite and do something for ourselves. Make our communities safe, secure our children, teach them to love themselves. Stop trying to run away from who you are. You don't need to attach a letter behind your name to be validated. You are already validated. And if you want to put letters behind your name, do it because you want to achieve a degree, achieve a certification, achieve a training that's going to help improve the conditions of your people. But not so that you can be legitimized, not so that you can be validated. The life in your body has already validated you. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, stay in peace. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nora Speaks podcast. Be on the lookout for a new episode coming at you fresh next week. And as always, if you want to learn more about me and the work that I do, visit my website, noramahammed.com. Or if you have a listener question, email me at info@noraspeaks.com. You can also follow the Nora Speaks podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nora Speaks Podcast. I'll be sure to include links in the show notes. If this show has value to you, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with family and friends. And be sure to check out previous episodes. And remember, don't just join the movement, be the movement. Stay in peace.